Hello students, welcome back to online classes. In last video we discussed about the Ellingham diagram. So in today's video we discuss about the applications of a Ellingham diagram. So in that first one is the extraction of iron from its oxides. Okay. It is the one of the important application of a Ellingham diagram, because the Ellingham diagram tells about which kind of reducing agent is suitable for the reduction of metal oxides into their corresponding metal. So that's why by the help of Ellingham diagram we are able to use the reducing agent for the certain kind of a metal oxide. Here I am taking the extraction of iron from its oxides. So here we have to choose iron ores firstly. So iron ores are nothing but the magnetite, hematite, siderite and iron pyrites. So in that we are going to use the hematite ore. So because it is economically as well as the commercial it is good, so that's why we are always using hematite ore for the separation of or for the extraction of iron from its ore. So that's why in this video we can able to get the idea of about how the extraction of iron or also any kind of metal will be carried out by using suitable reducing agents. Okay, so whenever we are taking the ore firstly, so we have to do the calcination or else roasting. So because in the last video we know that for the extraction of metal from their ore we have to do either calcination or else roasting. So we are going to do roasting, so when ore contains sulfide. So that's why in case of hematite there is no presence of sulfides, so that's why simply we can do either calcium. If sulfide is present we have to go for roasting process. If sulfide is absent then we are going to do the calcination. So we have to do calcination for the hematite ore, then it will able to remove all the volatile matter or also water which is present in a ore, then we will get the decomposed form of ore here. So this hematite ore is the mixture of Fe2O3 plus Fe3O4. It should contains both the combination of Fe2O3 along with the Fe3O4. Okay, so whenever we are doing calcination all the water should be removed. Then so after calcination we have to using blast furnace for the extraction of iron here. So that is why after calcination we have to take that ore, means hematite, with limestone with coke. So that is nothing but carbon. Okay, so we have to take calcinated ore and limestone and coke, we have to mix up with each other, then we have to put in the blast furnace. From the top of the furnace we have to put this mixture through the blast furnace. So the reactions will occur in the blast furnace at the bottom side. Okay, so here the reactions will taking at the bottom side of the furnace. So here reaction will be going from bottom to top, means from downward to upward. Okay, so at the first we have to supply the blast of air and oxygen through this inlet. Okay, so both the inlets are made for the supplying of blast of air and oxygen. So whenever the blast of air and oxygen will enter into this blast of furnace, then the temperature will be increases, means it will produces more and more temperature. It is about 2170 Kelvin. So when temperature is this much, so at the upward side there is a combination of ore with limestone and coke. So the carbon in presence of this much of it, it should undergo oxidation and convert it into the carbon dioxide. So the coke is nothing but carbon. When it is entering from the topward here, when it reaches to the temperature of about 2000 to 2200, at this time it should undergo oxidize. So as a result of that we are going to get the formation of a carbon dioxide here. So this carbon dioxide is in the gaseous form, so that is why it should be start moving towards upward. The carbon dioxide which is produced at 2170 Kelvin, it is started to move upward direction. So as a result of that the remaining coke which is also entering into this direction, so this carbon dioxide will combined with the other coke. So as a result it will forms the carbon monoxide. So see here, so at the initial stage coke should undergo oxidation at 2070 kelvins of temperature. It should form carbon dioxide. So it is the gas, so that is why it start to move towards the upward direction, and coke is entering into the furnace. So that is why the remaining coke is combines with the carbon dioxide. Further it should form the carbon monoxide. Okay, so it should form the carbon monoxide. So this step is very important, because here the carbon monoxide is acting as a reducing agent. So it is useful for the reduction of iron oxide here. So that's why the formation of carbon monoxide will be taken place at the temperature 1570 Kelvin, because whenever we are moving upward the temperature should be decreases. So that's why from 2170 Kelvin it should be decreases to 1570 Kelvin. At this stage carbon or else a coke is combines with the carbon dioxide and it forms the carbon monoxide. So it will be acting as a reducing agent now. So further if we move again and again upward direction, so this carbon monoxide initially it should reacts with the hematite ore. So that is nothing but Fe2O3. So this Fe2O3 is undergo reduction, or else it should be reduced with the help of a carbon monoxide. So then it should forms firstly Fe3O4 with the liberation of CO2. So this Fe3O4 is again reduced with the excess of carbon monoxide which is formed during this process. Again it should be converted into the iron oxide with the liberation of CO2. So that is nothing but FeO. So when the FeO is formed, again it should be reacted with carbon monoxide. So it should get reduced into iron. So now we are having the pure metal, means we are having the metallic form of iron. So FeO is converted into Fe now. Okay, when CO is formed, firstly it should react with the hematite ore. So it will be converted into Fe3O4. So this Fe3O4 is further reacted with the carbon monoxide. It should form iron oxide. So this iron oxide is reacted with the carbon monoxide again. So then it should be reduced into iron with the liberation of CO2, and this overall reaction will be taking place within the temperature range 900 Kelvin to 1500 Kelvin. So these reactions will be carried out in the temperature range 900 Kelvin to 1500 Kelvin, means in between this temperature we are going to see the formation of this kind of reaction. So remember, so firstly the carbon will get oxidized to carbon dioxide. This carbon dioxide will come and react with the carbon or else a coke. It should form carbon monoxide. So this is the reducing agent. So this will reduces the hematite ore here. So here firstly Fe2O3 is react with CO, then it should produce the Fe3O4, further it should react with CO, then it will form FeO. So this again reduced by the carbon monoxide, then we will get the iron with the liberation of CO2, and this is going to be taken place within the range of 1500 kelvins of temperature. Here temperatures are very important. So in this temperature only the conversions will be taken place. At low temperatures there is no reactions will be occur, because iron ores are always have high melting point and they are able to do decomposition at a high temperature. So that is why we are going to choose the furnace, the blast furnace. Okay, the name of this furnace should be blast furnace, because it requires high temperature. It is very high. So that's why, means red hot temperature will be maintained. So then we are going to decompose all the iron ores. So that's why the temperature are also important in the extraction of iron from its oxide. So this is about the conversion of iron oxide into iron, so by using carbon monoxide. So now question will arise, we are putting ore with limestone and coke. So coke is reduced to carbon monoxide, then it will able to helpful for the reduction of ore here. So then what is the use of limestone? So because we are adding along with ore as well as the coke. So the role of limestone is, so see here, so limestone is nothing but the calcium carbonate. The chemical formula of limestone is calcium carbonate, CaCO3. So it should undergo decomposition at this temperature, means 500 to 800 kelvins of temperature. So at this range, this calcium carbonate is undergo decomposition and it will produces the calcium oxide with the liberation of CO2. So this calcium oxide will combine with the silica. So this is the silica is called as impurity or else a gangue. So we are using limestone because to remove impurity or else a gangue which is present in the hematite ore. The main impurity of hematite ore is the silica. You have to remember SiO2 is the gangue material or else impurity which is present in the hematite ore. So that is why to remove this we are using the limestone. The role of limestone is to remove the impurity present in the hematite ore. So the impurity is nothing but the silica. So SiO2 is the impurity or else gangue. So this SiO2, so it is also having high melting point. So even though it is not able to melt at the 2000 kelvins of temperature. So as a result of that, to decrease its melting point, we are going to add the flux material. So in the last video also I discussed about the flux. The flux is the chemical substance which is added externally to convert or to remove the impurity from the ore. So that's why here flux is nothing but the calcium carbonate, means the calcium carbonate is nothing but the limestone. So already it should undergo decomposition. So as a result, so this silica will interact with the CaO, okay, the calcium oxide, then it will convert it into the calcium silicate here. So it will forms the calcium silicate, CaSiO3. So this calcium silicate is nothing but the slag. So once again I will write the reaction. SiO2 is the impurity or else a gangue. It should react with flux. So that is nothing but calcium carbonate. So this should undergo decomposition into calcium oxide with the liberation of CO2. So this CO is acting as a flux here. So it will produces the calcium silicate. So this is the slag. Okay. It should has lower melting point. So this slag is separated from the molten iron which is produced in this step. Okay. The slag is produced as well as the ore is also produced. So this molten iron will be collected at this end and slag will be collected at this end. In this way we are going to get the iron at the another end and slag at the another end, means waste material at the another end. Again the remaining carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, whatever the gases will be present in the furnace. So those are exhausted at the outlet. In this outlet the remaining or else excess of carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide, if they are present in the reaction, means if they are present in the furnace, they are removing through this outlet. They are escaping through this outlet as a exhausted gas. So this is the procedure to extract the iron from its oxide. So you have to remember diagram as well as temperature and reactions. So if you are able to remember temperature with reactions, it was very easy. Okay, 1 or 2 times if you are able to write, then it will become very much easy. So at the sentence also you have to write same way. So firstly you have to consider the ore, limestone, coke, whenever we are going to add within the blast furnace. At the end of the furnace we are supplying blast of air and oxygen, means high heat will be produced. So the coke will undergo oxidation at this temperature it will produce carbon dioxide. So the further coke it will react with the CO2 at the temperature 1570 Kelvin, it will produce carbon monoxide. So further it should react with the iron ore or else hematite ore, it should form Fe3O4, then undergo iron oxide conversion, further it should form FeCO2. So this is the temperature range 900 Kelvin to 1500 Kelvin. Okay, the limestone will we are using limestone because to remove the gangue material which is present along with the hematite ore, that is nothing but silica. It should be removed by the conversion of slag, so that is calcium silicate. It will be collected at the another end and molten iron will be collected at the another end. So this is the procedure of extraction of iron oxide from its ore. Okay. So next is, so either we can use carbon and carbon monoxide, because in this furnace we have both, so carbon as well as the carbon monoxide. So that's why, so which kind of reducing agent is feasible for the reduction of iron oxide? So when the hematite ore, that is Fe2O3, if it is mixed with the carbon monoxide, we are going to get the formation of iron oxide with the liberation of carbon dioxide. So here we are using carbon monoxide as a reducing agent. So and another chance is the Fe2O3, if it is reduced by the carbon, again we are going to get the formation of iron oxide with the liberation of carbon monoxide here. Further they should undergo reduction into iron oxide into iron. But here the question is, which is the more suitable reducing agent to reduce the Fe2O3, either carbon monoxide or else carbon. So it should be determined by the use of a Ellingham diagram. So in last video already we we plot the graph of the Ellingham diagram. So we are drawing against delta GRG with the temperature, means Gibbs free energy along with the temperature. So this is the graph. So whenever the Gibbs free energy, the delta G of the reaction is negative, then that reagent should be useful as the reducing agent. So it should be very much feasible for that reaction. So out of these two, which one will be having more negative value, means more delta G negative value, then it is used as a reducing agent. So for carbon monoxide we are going to get about minus 53.7 kilojoules of energy. So that is why, so the carbon monoxide will be used as the most feasible reducing agent to reduce hematite ore instead of the carbon or else coke. Okay, because this will has the more negative value, delta G value, compared to that of the carbon. It should has more negative delta G value compared to carbon. So that's why the carbon monoxide will be used as a good reducing agent to reduce the hematite ore. So it should be determined with the help of the Ellingham diagram. So it is already explained in the last video. So that's why you can go through that. Then again you will get the reasons. So this is about the extraction of iron oxide from the hematite ore with the help of carbon monoxide, which is used as the reducing agent in the apparatus, the blast furnace here. Okay, here temperature ranges are important and the role of limestone, that is also important, and they may ask like which is the gangue or else what is the impurity which is present in the hematite ore, means you have to write silica. The formula of silica should be SiO2. It should be removed in the form of slag by forming CaSiO3. So that is nothing but the calcium silicate. So you have to remember all the things here. Okay, calcium silicate is the slag and calcium oxide is your flux and impurity is the silica. And at the 500 range the limestone should undergo decomposition within the 900 to 1200 or 1500 kelvins of temperature. The iron oxides will undergo reduction. So this is the temperature range, you have to remember 900 Kelvin to 1500 Kelvin decomposition of, or else the reduction of iron oxides will be taken place with carbon monoxide. So at the bottom, at 2000 kelvins of temperature, the carbon should undergo oxidation and it should form carbon dioxide. So this is about the extraction procedure, and we are getting the molten iron here. So that is not in the pure form. Whatever iron which is get by this procedure, it is not in a pure form. It contains the 4% of a carbon. So that is why that iron is said to be the pig iron. So we are going to get the pig iron from the blast furnace. Okay. So this is called as a impure iron. Pig iron is the impure iron because it contains 4% of carbon, and along with this there are some impurities are also present like sulfur, phosphorus, silicon and manganese. Okay, sulfur, phosphorus, silicon and manganese. Along with the carbon, the remaining small impurities are also present, sulfur, phosphorus, silicon and manganese. But this pig iron is, we can able to do this in the whatever we want shape. Okay, means it is very much moldable. So that's why we can able to get this iron in a different shape. So it should have some moldable nature. So that is why we are going to get by using this iron, we are going to convert it into variety of shapes. But it is in a impure form, not in a pure form, because it contains 4% of carbon. So the state of iron is considered as pig iron. You have to remember the word. Okay, pig iron is the impure iron and it contains 4% of carbon along with the silica, phosphorus, silicon, magnesium is present in its contamination. But it can be useful for the molding process as well as it are able to convert into variety of shapes. So if we are going to remove some of the impurities from pig iron, so then we are going to get the improved form of iron. So means if you are removing the slight impurities, means small kind of impurities from this iron, we are going to get another form of iron. So that is called as the cast iron. Okay. So pig iron means it contains 4% of impurity. So if you are removing some of the impurities, so that is nothing but we are getting the cast iron. Okay, this cast iron will contains 3% of carbon because we are going to remove some of the impurities from this iron. So that's why it should contains lesser amount of carbon, like 3% of carbon, but along with this carbon again silicon, phosphorus, silicon, manganese will be present in the cast iron, but we can only lessen the percentage of carbon. It can be done by mixing this pig iron. Means how we can get this cast iron means we have to first take pig iron. So it should be mixed with the scrap iron, small amount of scrap iron. So pig iron, to this we have to add small amount of scrap iron along with the coke. So then it will reduces to the carbon, percentage of carbon to from 4 to 3%. So whenever we are getting this 3% carbon impure iron, so that is called as the cast iron, and however it should be more hard compared to pig iron, and it is also brittle in nature. It is more hard and brittle. So pig iron is moldable into variety of shapes, but the cast iron, after passing in the blast furnace, pig iron along with the pig iron, scrap iron with coke, it should be heated, then it can be removed the carbon, and we are going to get the amount of carbon is about 3% of carbon. So this iron is said to be the cast iron. So this cast iron will become more hard compared to pig iron, and also it will become more brittle compared to that of the pig iron, but still it contains 3% of carbon along with these small amounts of impurities. So that's why it is also not called as a the pure form of iron. So again we have to remove the remaining impurities. So that is why we have to do further the improvisation. So that is why for that we are going to get the formation of a pure iron here. So that pure iron is nothing but wrought iron or malleable iron. Okay, malleable iron or else wrought iron is considered to be the pure form of iron. So you have to remember the names. Pig iron is the impure iron. Cast iron should contain 3% of iron. The wrought or else malleable iron is the purest form of iron, and it is most commerciable one. Pure iron, and it is commercial. Okay, so this is the commercially purest form of iron. So that is called as the wrought iron or else malleable iron. How we can removing all these impurities in the wrought iron means, again you have to pass this cast iron in the blast furnace. It must be coated with the hematite ore. So here we are going to get this wrought iron by heating cast iron, by heating cast iron in the blast furnace, which is coated with or which is lined with hematite ore here. The hematite ore. Okay, again we have to using hematite ore to remove the impurities which are present in the cast iron. And moreover here we are going to use the new form of furnace. So that is called as the reverberatory furnace. Here we are going to use reverberatory furnace here. So reverberatory furnace is nothing but here we are going to coating that furnace with the hematite ore. So see here, if it is a furnace, if it is a reverberatory furnace, if it must be coated with hematite ore. Okay, so whenever we are coating this furnace with hematite, so the ore means this cast iron, so it should enter into this furnace. It should be react with the iron oxide, all the carbon as well as sulfur, phosphorus, silicon, manganese. So whatever they will be present, these are sulfur, phosphorus, silicon and manganese, whatever they are present, so they should undergo oxidation and converted into their oxides. Okay, sulfur will converted into sulfur oxide, phosphor will be converted into phosphor dioxide, silicate, whatever. So in this way they will be eliminated as a oxide, and carbon is also eliminated in the form of carbon is also undergo the elimination from this furnace. As a result, now we are going to get the pure form of iron. So that is considered as the wrought iron, and we are also add limestone to remove all these impurities in the form of a slag. Okay, so the calcium carbonate is added to this furnace to remove all the impurities which are present in the cast iron in the form of a slag. So in this way we are going to get the pure form of iron here. So that's why we are going to get the wrought iron. So it's understood. So firstly we have to take the cast iron. It should be entered into the reverberatory furnace. So reverberatory furnace is nothing but it should be lined with the hematite ore here. So when hematite ore lined furnace we are taking, so when the carbon, okay, because here the main impurity is carbon, so we have to remove carbon first. So here 3% of carbon is there. So this Fe2O3 lining furnace, when carbon is come in contact with this, it should undergo oxidation, means this carbon should undergo oxidation. As a result we are going to get the formation of the carbon monoxide. So this gas will be eliminated from the furnace. So in this way we are going to removing all the impurities by the conversion of their oxides. So you have to remember the word. So all the impurities will be removed by converting them into their corresponding oxide. Carbon will be removed as carbon monoxide, and sulfur will be sulfur dioxide, phosphor dioxide, and etc. In this way we are going to remove all the impurities from this iron. So that is why this is considered as a purest form of iron, and it is very much softer, so that's why it is considered as the malleable iron. So we can made in the variety of, we can use this iron in the variety of industries. So this is about the iron. So pig iron contains 4% of carbon, cast iron will contains 3% of carbon, wrought iron we can able to remove all the carbon by converting into their oxides. So this is about the iron extraction from their oxides. So you have to firstly, if they ask about 3 marks or 4 marks, so explain the extraction of iron oxide from hematite ore. So you have to remember we are going to extracting iron from hematite ore, not from siderite or else magnetite. So those are not much feasible compared to that of the hematite. So hematite is economically as well as commercially it is very good. So that's why we are choosing the hematite ore. Yes. So hematite ore should having the formula Fe2O3. Okay. So you have to draw the blast furnace diagram, then you have to mention the temperature along with their reaction. So if they are asked about the impurities of iron, means this is about pig iron, cast iron, and wrought iron. So the wrought or malleable iron is the purest form of iron. So pig iron is the impure iron. So this is about the extraction of iron from its metal oxide. So the second application is extraction of zinc from zinc oxide. Okay, the extraction of zinc from zinc oxide. So this is also done by using coke with the high temperature. So whenever we are passing zinc oxide with red hot coke at about temperature 1673 Kelvin, then we are going to get the formation of zinc with the liberation of carbon monoxide here. So and moreover here the temperature is high, so for this the oxide is made into briquettes with the coke and clay. So that is why the metal which is distilled off, and further it should be collected by continuous chilling or else cooling. So we have to distill off the metal. Metal means zinc, and we should collect that by rapid cooling. So then we are going to get the zinc. So this is very easy compared to that of the copper and iron. Okay, so this is about the extraction of zinc from zinc oxide. Simply we have to heat the zinc ore in presence of red hot coke at a temperature 1673 Kelvin. Then we are going to get the formation of zinc briquettes with the clay. Then this zinc will be distilled off by the rapid cooling or else chilling. So in this way we are going to collect the in this way we are going to collect the zinc. So one more application is there, that is the extraction of copper from its ore. So it should be discussed in the next video. So in this video I will stop here only, because how to practice more times the extraction of iron from its oxide, because in CET also they are asking 1 mark questions like what is the commercial form of iron, or also what is the, and also they should ask about the temperature. So and which reducing agent will be used for the reduction of iron oxides, etc. So in this way so many questions are asked in the CET, JEE and NEET. So you can go through question papers. So in 2020 so they are asking about that extraction of iron oxide. So that is why you can, each and every point is important in the iron oxides, and also in theory that is asked for the 3 marks. So you have to draw the diagram, write equations and mention the temperature. So it will be easy when you are going to practice it many times. Okay, so This is about extraction of iron and from its iron oxide and extraction of zinc from zinc oxide. So in next video we will discuss about the one more application, so that is the extraction of copper from its ore. So thank you all.